I used to have no problem being the front person. But then I went through a phase around my 30s and 40s where all I wanted to do was be behind the scenes. I just wanted to be invisible. I didn't want to be seen. And then I hit my 50s and things changed. And I didn't really understand it, but somewhere in my late 40s, I decided, you know what, I'm going to practice vulnerability. Not as in I'm going to set myself up for feeling vulnerable, but I'm going to share things about me that I haven't felt like I could for whatever reason. It doesn't really matter. Because somewhere during that course of those 30s and 40s, I started to feel really disconnected from me. And I know why. There are limited beliefs that are around it, things that I have been conditioned. Much of my early years, I often felt like I wasn't understood, that people didn't understand what I was saying, that there certain things weren't clear, or they didn't quite get me. I didn't quite fit in. And so it was just easier to be behind the scenes. I could create wonderful things behind the scenes if I didn't have to be the front person. And it seemed to be acceptable, except that what I ended up doing was disconnecting from myself so much that I became behind the scenes of me, and I didn't understand what the front of me was like at all. And so that's why I started vulnerability. I started it with my art, sharing my art. And boy, that was hard. That was really hard to share with people because I didn't think people would get it or understand it. And turns out they did, or they had their own experience, and I was okay with that. It didn't matter about them understanding me. It was me understanding me. And so what was really cool is a few years ago, I started looking up human design and stuff. And I thought it was really interesting and fun, but it felt more like a party trick. Like I would look at it, get a report and be, oh, this is so exciting. I totally see me. Like, oh, this is so yummy. But I didn't know what to do with it. So there it was. That was it. It was a fun moment. And then it disappeared. But over a year ago, I enrolled in a program, and I started really studying my human design. Curiosity got the better of me. And then I started playing around with, the more I learned, how do I just apply it? It's all for experiment's sake. Oh my gosh, I have learned so much about me. First of all, I am a generator. I'm a 6'2". Hi, I'm Trisha. And a 6 line goes through different things. Like in their first 30s, it's all trial and error, and it's fun, and you experiment, and it's for the experience. And boy, does that sum up, especially my 20s, hugely, and probably so much more than that. But then you go through a phase somewhere between your 30s and your 50s, where you just really start to want to take a step back, and you want to evaluate. You want to kind of take in things and take a breath, take a beat, and let's see what's happening. And when I look back now, that's what it was like. And then when you hit your 50s, somewhere in there, you start to see the patterns. You see like a higher level of things. And I'm 54, and I didn't start studying my human design until I was, the 53-ish, right after I turned 53, I guess. And I think that's right. Right after I turned 53 is when I really started to really study it. And oh my gosh, I saw how I was naturally just doing the things, but I was kind of like walking around in the dark, no guide to help me, know where I'm going, no map, and not even tuned into my own senses. So I bumped into a lot of things. And so studying my human design has been like so wonderful. So I want to share with you some part that I have really been studying so much so. Let's see, I'm going to get out the handy dandy tool here. And that's this part right here, which is our emotional solar plexus. It's defined for me because, that'll go away here soon. I have the solar plexus authority. That means I have to ride my emotional wave before I can get a clear yes and no, so I can get the clarity. And I remember several years ago when I first was dabbling, I saw that and I thought, I don't even know what that means. Like, I don't understand that. Like, it made logical sense, but I didn't actually know how to practically put it in. And turns out there's a lot of us who have this solar plex emotional wave, but we don't all experience it the same way. So I have been doing a deep dive into this center right here. So when it's defined, that means you have access to it at all times, whether or not you want to have access to it is up to you. But it's a really important one for me because not only is it how I make decisions, it has one of my grounding, my unconscious grounding side is also in here. So my purpose for that. And I have one channel strength. Let's see. We'll make that go away here in a minute. Between this 59 and 6 right here. That is a channel strength that gets connected when you have 2 points that get connected. It's like a superpower for you. And so I have been really studying this because I'm just really curious about my own decision making and my own emotions. It's been a passion project for me for a while. As a matter of fact, that's how I started. I've made art all my life, but when I practiced vulnerability, my art all came from emotion. I just let emotion drive every decision of how I made the art and turned off all of my art trained and design trained mind, all the formal training that I had and all the exploration that I had beforehand and experience in making things so other people could understand them. And I just made it for my emotions and life-changing experience. But I want to read you just a little bit about what this channel is for the 59-6. And you know what? I'm gonna click back over here so you can see what I'm reading from, because I'm super excited about this book. This book of Understanding the Centers in Human Design by Robin Wynn. Highly recommend it. If you are interested in your human design, it's super thick. It's got so much good, yummy stuff in it. Highly recommend it. But the other thing that I'm just going to mention, because this has been my experience, it's really wonderful to read and have knowledge and have knowing. But it only matters if you can apply it, because otherwise it's just a party trick, like how when I first experienced human design. So I have been really looking at how can I experiment and how can I live with these things and what kind of results can I get. And oh my gosh, the more I've tuned into this one center, I can't tell you how much of a difference it's made in my life. So my house is a lot less anxiety and stress filled. Even my dog, who has a huge anxiety problem because of the beginning parts of his life and what he experienced, he has mellowed out so much. The only thing that I did differently was me. How I started tuning into this and applying it in my life. That's the only thing that changed. So cool. Anyway, I just want to read this little bit on here because that channel is my superpower. So it's an important one for me to take note of. If your channel of the 59-6, your emotional energy will be focused on intimacy and creating intimacy and building intimacy through sexuality, children, and businesses. Holy goodness. This is exactly what I was doing with my art. It was showing my vulnerability, allowing people to become intimate with me, my experience and my expressions, because my art, if you go check out any of it, is all deep expression. And I think they're I have some videos on YouTube. I have some posts on LinkedIn. I have some things on Facebook, some things on Instagram, some things on TikTok. You can go check out any of those where I actually talk about what it was for me. That it was very personal. It was very intimate. And so the other thing that when you have what I have on mine, and you know what, let's just go back because I'm reading from that book. But so the part that I'm going to be talking about, because I have this channel, that means that I have a tribal emotional wave. There's, depending on where your channels are, you could have an individual emotional wave, you could have a tribal emotional wave, or a collective emotional wave. And so when you have the tribal one, then you will have, this wave is prone to explosions and outbursts following the buildup of upsets. Oh my gosh, that is so me. I am so even-tempered, and I will put up with a lot. I have, I don't know if I really want to say put up with or tolerate. I give grace for a lot of things because I know that, we don't all show up our best on each day. We have a lot of stuff going on, right? But sometimes there's a limit. So I just let that grace go. And do I really let it go? I'm really not letting it go. I'm telling myself I'm letting it go, but I'm really not. I really am just putting up with it. And that's the unhealthy way of doing this. That's the not self theme. So I'm just going to point out my not self theme is frustration. So I let it build up and I just bury down that frustration. And then you cross a line. It's like one more time, the last straw. Boom, that's it. I'm done. Over. There's no returning. There's no going back. The line has been crossed and 100% never again. And so I'm very forgiving to a point, but am I really forgiving? Maybe not, because otherwise I wouldn't let this all build up. But I see myself doing this, and I thought I was just giving grace to everybody. You know what? I gave you a lot of grace. I gave you a lot of space. I gave you, it was okay that you weren't doing whatever. But no, all I was doing was shoving it down. So I wanted to read another part in here in the book where it talks about the challenges if you have a tribal wave, and maybe you'll respond to this too. You can stuff your feelings. You think you're okay with something that has happened, and then something else happens. You stuff that too. That is so me. You think you're handling it. Of course I am. I have broad shoulders. I can handle anything, right? Like, bring it at me. You can't break me down. You think you're handling it, but the pressure builds. And then someone breaks a promise or shows up out of integrity and it's crushing. You lose it. And in my case, I cut them off or I cut myself off. I don't know which it is. And so right there, this superpower that's within me, this is what this means. And so it gave me clues into why I get frustrated, because I think I'm letting things roll off of me, but I'm not. I'm just shoving it down. I think I'm even killed and I can give grace and, hold the burden, but I'm not. I'm just kind of numb to it. I'm not realizing that it really is hurting me. And so what have I done now that's different? And maybe that's what you're curious about. What real changes have I made in my life? One of the things is I have a practice that I do multiple times throughout the day. Some days it's one day, and there's going to be some days it's 0. But some days it's like 20 times. I have different practices that I use to release emotion. And of course, there's the standard ones, like I can make art, or I could dance, or I could go for a walk. And they do some of it, but there's more targeted techniques that you can do to really help specific things, because sometimes you need to let out rage, and sometimes you need to really let out the the low, when you feel blue, you feel sorrowful, you might even be feeling like sorry for yourself kind of thing, those kind of emotions. There's different ways to let them out. And sometimes it's like, it's just, I'm not angry, but I'm antsy, and not in a productive way. And so I've learned to navigate those different kinds of things. And when I work with somebody, here's the best part. I do a lot of these. I have some practices that work for a lot of different things. And anytime they can be like 1 to 3 minutes, that's my gig. That's me. I have a whole obsession with time, but I do them before, especially when it's a new relationship that I'm developing with somebody. I do these before I get on a call with them. I do them when I get off the call with them. If I happen to notice something in the middle of the call, I do it while I'm in the call. I have discrete ones, like you can't even tell what I'm doing right now, but I'm doing it right now. And I have a whole thing on that. You can go to getyourease.com. I'll reveal it. But it's this is what I do to help me. I know that I need this, like, how like some people, if they've been dieting for a long time, they may not actually know what their hunger pains are. So they have to kind of get back in touch with that. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting in touch with that. And meanwhile, in the meantime, I know that my body needs to be able to release some of this emotion because I may not even realize that I need to. So I'm just doing it as a practice. And oh my gosh, I feel so much lighter. It's been so awesome. Highly recommend it. Reach out to me if you want to ever talk about that some more. But human design has helped me to see myself in ways that I just never thought was possible. It's so much more granular than just, we have to learn how to release your emotions. I'm sorry, that advice never worked for me. This has given me something more targeted, more specific. So hope you enjoyed this.